Hello, welcome everyone to the 7th annual Longmont Earth Day celebration. Thank you for joining Sustainable Resilient Longmont for a day of fun and learning about our local wildlife, upcycled art projects, inspiration from youth leaders in climate activism, and a film festival featuring student visions for our future. Sustainable Resilient Longmont is a nonprofit organization that collaborates with the Longmont community to cultivate a sustainable and thriving city through education, advocacy, and action. In addition to our annual Longmont Earth Day celebration, we also have events and actions throughout the year focused on renewable energy and zero waste. Our 2021 Longmont Earth Day celebration is presented in partnership with the Longmont Museum, which is where this event usually takes place, and this year's Earth Champion sponsor, Circle Graphics. Today's programming is divided into 3 sections. First, the K through 5 youth program from 10 to noon, which includes an interactive presentation from Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center and bilingually presented arts and crafts activities using recycled materials. If you would like to participate in the art activities, there are bilingual materials lists and worksheets on our website at srlongmont.org/resources. The link will also be in our Zoom chat. After a midday lunch break, we will be back with an afternoon of teen programming from 1 to 3 with a panel discussion on student environment clubs and climate action, followed by our Youth Visions for the Future Film Festival. Tonight, join us for an evening on equitable climate action in Longmont, starting at 6:30 p.m. This program will also be presented bilingually and broadcast live from the Longmont Museum through Longmont Public Media and streaming on the museum's Facebook page. My name is Naomi Kurland, and I am a board member for Sustainable Resilient Longmont and chair of the Zero Waste Committee. I am so happy to be here today celebrating Earth Day with our community. To kick things off, we are joined by Claudia Laprise, the volunteer and outreach manager at Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, who is going to teach us about wildlife rescue in Longmont. If you have any questions for Claudia today, you can click the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to ask a question, and we will do our best to answer as many questions as we can by the end of our wildlife program. We will also have some polls pop up on your screen today, which you can vote on by clicking the answer you think is right. So now let's learn about our local wildlife from Claudia.
I'm going to share my screen. Everybody can see it. Thank you so much for the really warm introduction, Naomi. I am also very excited to be here to celebrate Earth Day with you and Sustainable Resilient Longmont. This is really exciting. I'm excited to be here. All right, so we're going to get started for a fun presentation where we're going to learn about our local wildlife, how we rehabilitate them. We're really close to you. We're in Longmont, so just to make sure everybody knows we're here for you and to serve our community. All right. Change my slide here. Perfect. Greenwood's mission. So briefly, our mission has kind of 2 sides to it. The first one is definitely to rehabilitate sick, injured, and orphaned wild animal with the goal and sole purpose to put them back in the wild where they belong. Also, it is to educate the public. And that's what I'm doing right now, meeting with you all wonderful people to learn about how we can cohabitate with wild animals and find sometimes even humane solutions to those conflicts that arise between us sharing the same planet if we want. What is wildlife rehabilitation? So sometimes people are like, I would like to do that in the future. It is a profession, a licensed profession that combines a little bit of vet medicine, animal husbandry and behavior and biology, right? So we need to know these animals to make sure that we're able to rehabilitate them, make them grow really wild so they're really successful when we put them back in the wild, which is the goal of what we're doing at Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. And by the way, all those cute pictures are from our patients, and there's a few that are not, and I'll mention that later. What do we do? So we treat thousands of animals annually, okay? So since we've opened our doors in 1982, we've seen about 200 different types of species come through our door. So we are licensed for, so it means that we can receive at our facility songbirds, corvids, waterfowl, and small to medium-sized mammals. So we like to say to people, it goes from pretty much the size of a baby hummingbird to the size of a coyote, which you can both see in this picture, along with a fox squirrel and a duck here. Why do these animals end up at Greenwood? People wonder, right? Well, most of them, I would say the majority of our patients are orphaned. And they end up at Greenwood and we need to raise them, right? So they start as babies and we make them grow with us. Of course, loss of habitat. You can imagine that sometimes people cut trees and they find a squirrel nest, or they remove a solar panel from a roofing and they find a little pigeon's nest. In Mother Nature, sometimes, for example, a grebe after a snowstorm will land on the road thinking that it's a river, and then they get stranded there, right? And they need to come to Greenwood to get strong again so they can take off on water. We want people to call us, and I will tell you more about this because we want to prevent people kidnapping little babies that do not need help because the parents are still around. So that's something that we really try to make sure it doesn't happen, because there's nothing that can replace the mother in the wild. So how does the intake process work? How do we end up, processing these animals that come to Greenwood? First, we say to people, call us, please, please, please call us. We'll ask you, what's going on with the animals? Where are you? Should the animal come in the first place? Maybe we'll ask you to send us a picture and we'll tell you what the best situation we should do. The animal is brought to Greenwood if we decided that that was the best solution. And then we're gonna evaluate the animal, decide on a course of treatment. What are we gonna do? Does it need medication? Does it need special food? And we make it, adapted to every and each animal. We prepare a specialized diet for them. We need to know what they eat, right? You can see that this beautiful little smiling raccoon is eating a meatball. And these meadowlarks are eating a live mealworm. We're not going to give an insect to a bird that doesn't eat insects, right? So we really need to know their diet and what's going to make them grow really strong and have all their bones and feathers and fur be really nice and good and strong and healthy. We give them comfortable quarters. So we make sure that they have the little hammocks that they need to hang in, like in the raccoons in these pictures, or for our squirrels, little knitted nests for this rock squirrel or for the baby birds, right? Even the waterfowl, which in this picture is what we call our duck beach. We have sand, we have bark and fig grass and dried towels, and also pools where the ducks can have a different type of environment where they can make sure that their feet doesn't get sore, right, from always being in the water or always being on sand and things like that. So we make sure that they are really comfortable. Enrichment, that's fun. We make puzzles, right, for the raccoons so they can grow really, really strong to go out there in the wild and find their own food. We need to make them really independent and able to look and search and find something that they can eat. We put fresh branches. You should check our Facebook page right now. We need fresh green branches for our squirrels so they can chew on it, know that it's something in the environment that is good for them. So we make sure to do a lot of enrichment for our animals because that helps develop their brain. The best part is the release. You can imagine where these animals have spent a different length of time, right, with us, depending if they were babies or injured, and they finally get to go back in the wild, which is wonderful. If anybody who owns a property wants to fill a form to be a release site, you can go on our website under Get Involved. If you want to maybe be, yes, this early September, I would like to receive 5 raccoons on my property. If our animal care supervisor decides that it's a good property for them, a good environment, we will be very happy to bring you those babies. Now we're gonna start a little bit of talking about the difference, right, with wildlife and domesticated pets. So you can see here on the picture that we have a bobcat on the left and a domesticated, I think it's a little orange tabby cat on the right. So what is a wild animal, right? The definition is at the bottom here saying a free ranging, meaning that it can go really where it wants. It's free, right? It doesn't have a collar or leash. It can go where it wants. Non-domestic animal. So non-domestic. Domestic means that it was habituated to human, right? It's a human companion. It's a pet in a natural environment, right? So a lion in a zoo is not going to be a wild animal. It's a captive wild animal, right? It's not free ranging anymore. Your dog is not a wild animal, right? It's a domesticated pet. So we're going to go with a poll, I believe, to see if you are all able to decide which one of these 4 pictures is not a wild animal. So I will let Naomi decide how much time do we give to that question, right? I'm going to answer it too. I have it right here. All right. Naomi, are you the one that's going to give the results of that little poll? See if people are.
Yeah, there's still a few people taking it. So the options are raccoon,
Yes.
or hummingbird, or duck, or puppy. Which one is not a wild animal? I think we'll give it maybe a couple more seconds, get everyone's votes in. All right.
A yawning raccoon still needs to get up.
And
oh, we have 100%. I think the message is clear here. We have a clear message on what is a wild animal or not a wild animal. All right, we're going to look at some of our most common patients. Of course, there's way more than that, but we're going to look at a few of them. And I say pay attention, because we're going to be stretching our body and moving a little bit to take a little break in this presentation to make sure we have all of your attention. And we're going to dance and move like that mallard here. So pay attention. We're going to have a look at some of our patients. The raccoon. The raccoon. So we get raccoons at Greenwood every year. Where do they live? So irrigated cropland and urban setting. What is an urban setting? It's a city, right? I'm in Boulder right now. I live next to a creek with cottonwood trees. Plenty of raccoons around my building. What is their diet? People are going to say pizza, trash. They eat fruits, nuts, and berries. They are an opportunistic feeder, so they will go in your trash if it's open. So we tell people, be careful. We do not want them to eat any wrapping papers or plastic that would be bad for them. What do we have next here? The robin. And on that picture, it's a juvenile robin. You can see that its feathers are all like scruffy still. So it's growing right at Greenwood. They live in shrubland, woodland, urban setting also. They do migrate through Colorado. They're a very, very common bird in Colorado. They're the first ones that you can maybe even hear sing in the morning. They are insectivore. They eat earthworms, fruits, small insects, and they have a beautiful, beautiful song. So red fox. This red fox is wonderful. We have a couple tiny little fox kits at Greenwood. If you want to, again, follow us on social media, you're going to see about their little story. They live in bushlands, forests, or all over Colorado, all over the state. They do eat small mammals like voles and little, if they can, a prairie dog, or maybe a cottontail rabbit. So we can't blame them for that. That's really their diet. But also they eat sometimes fruit, berries, and grasses. The Canada goose obviously lives close to ponds. They eat a lot of grass. So they're going to be found in agricultural fields, sometimes in the cities too. You see them, right? Crossing the street, eating grass from the little patches of grass we have in our cities, fallen grain and wild rice and mollusks. So they have a varied diet. And we tell people, if you can be an ambassador for Greenwood, do please tell people not to feed bread to waterfowl, witches, ducks, and geese, because it just fills their stomach with nothing really, and it makes them not hungry anymore, and it doesn't give them the nutrients to have really beautiful feathers and have the energy that they need to fly for sometimes very long distance. The magpie, the black-billed magpie that I love. Difference between the robin earlier and the magpie is a corvid. The magpie doesn't have a beautiful song. At least I think that the way they express themselves is beautiful. It's not, you know, a song like the robin. They live in shrublands and woodlands. I like to go hike in sanitas here in Boulder, and they are everywhere. They make those really, really big nests with big branches and mud. They're really interesting birds. They eat nearly anything, insects, fruits, and carrion, which means sometimes we call that also roadkill. So the animal that has passed, well, the magpie will see that as an opportunity to get a little snack. So that's what they do. All right, it is time to move. So I gave you a few options here, and of course, a few of those pictures, the fox, the robin, and the goose are not from Greenwood, but I wanted to show them in action, singing and honking like the Canada goose. I personally love the fox jumping, but since I'm a little tight on space here, I think I'm going to choose to flap my wings like a magpie and maybe even sing like a robin. So I'm encouraging all of you to pick your favorite, stretch your legs like a raccoon or cackle and honk like a goose, but I'm going to flap my wings. I don't know for you. And I'm going to do.
Okay, maybe I'll try the fox jump. I'll see if
You
I
will?
can.
They do that. They fuck. They jump really high. I think that was a really good one. I think they do that when they're actually hunting. And they do that when they're playing between kids too, which is practicing a little bit what they'll have to do in nature. By the way, my song, my robin song captivated the attention of my cat. So I think I might have some talent here.
Can we hear that again? Can
Robin.
you do your robin again?
So that was my magpie, but I did. And my cat did. Is there a bird in the house? But yes, and I would be so fascinated. I don't know how to do the goose. Like they hiss sometimes.
Oh yeah, they hiss. So like I would do something with the neck, try to make our necks go like geese, right?
Exactly.
What would you say?
I hope that some people get a good stretch.
What do raccoons do?
Oh, we have a picture of a raccoon on our Instagram that you should go and see. That's in a hammock, completely stretched with his hands like this. And his paws, I should say, but they look so much like little hands. And they do stretch. They climb on our nettings at Greenwood. They take naps in the big barrels that we have for them, or they hang in their hammocks. So they do some good stretching sometimes.
Oh, so they like to climb. They climb on trees.
Yes,
buildings.
we put up netting. So part of the enrichment in their enclosure, we put all sorts of things that they can hide in, climb on, like nettings that we put there to make sure that they grow really strong, because the first thing that they're going to have to do when we open the crates and they're released back into the wild around those beautiful cottonwood trees is to climb up the tree. That's the first thing that they do. And we're happy to see that they have all the muscles that they need, because they did exercise at Greenwood.
Well, I guess if someone wants to move like a raccoon, you could try to carefully climb on a chair, maybe.
Right, exactly.
Climb on a couch. Somewhere safe.
Climb on your counter. Maybe your parents are going to be like, "Careful here."
Yeah, somewhere safe.
But they do like to stretch and climb and climb trees. But we say be careful at home, trying to imitate a raccoon.
Yeah. I see a couple raised hands. Just remember, if you have any questions for Claudia today, you can ask them in the Q&A box. So at the bottom of your screen, there's a little bubble that says Q&A. And so instead of raising your hand, because we can't turn on audio for everyone who's on this call today, you can open up the Q&A box and type in a question, or have someone help you type in a question so you can ask a question of Claudia.
Yes, thank you, Naomi. All right, are we ready for the next slide? Everybody's got the blood flowing and their attention back to us. We're gonna look at a few stories, and I think Naomi's gonna play a little video for us as well. I love the story of Acorn and his sister. They were found and they were stuck in a wall. And you can see the gentleman in the picture in the center here. The family gave us a call at Greenwood wondering what they should do. They were hearing little chirping in the wall. And the gentleman took the decision to, yes, we need to open the wall. So he took a saw and made a little hole and was able to found little baby Acorn. You can see in the left picture, a little bit dehydrated, was brought to Greenwood. We're guessing that, of course, the mom made its nest up in maybe the roofing, and they fell through the wall. The conclusion was that mom was not around. So that's why sometimes the babies are going to start moving and get out of the nest. They're like, I'm hungry here. A day later, or a couple of days later, they heard chirping again. And Acorn had a little sister that was brought to Greenwood, and you can see them in that picture snuggling together. And they were released together in the neighborhood where they were found really healthy and strong and all wild up. So that's a fun, good story. This is really, really fun. And again, we're going to show one video, but we will tell you there's so many videos on our YouTube page. You can type Greenwood Wildlife in YouTube, click on the tab video, and you will have about a decade of videos on there that you can watch, including one about gosling adoption. What we do, because goslings and certain other type of animals like the magpie, for example, can get habituated to humans really, really fast when you enter this phase of their life that's really early. They will look at Naomi and they'll be like, Naomi's my mom. And we'll be like, oh, no, that's not good. So what we want is, even when we have a few goslings, one or two, we try to find a family that's out there. So our little goslings are brought to Greenwood, they're orphaned, they lost their family, right? We're gonna have people call us at Greenwood, we're gonna post on Facebook, tell us if you see a family, a geese family with, little babies, and then we're gonna go and look at the family and see if our babies are quite the same size, and we're gonna do what we call a gosling adoption. So our experienced licensed wildlife rehabilitators are going to push the little babies towards the family, which is both the mom and the dad, actually, when it comes to the Canada goose. And they are most likely, when we do it really right and we have the same size or very similar size of gosling, they will just take on 2 more kids. They're going to be like, oh, I guess they're mine now. And they're going to go and swim on the lake all together on the pond. So the family that found, in this specific case, those 2 baby small goslings, they had been washed away by like a river that, in the spring, we have a lot of snow that melts, and river can be really swift. And those 2 babies were separated. And the family that brought them to Greenwood got really attached and really liked the goslings. And they decided to go adopt domesticated geese, which is not the same as wild geese, right? Because they really fell in love with this animal, so they wanted to have some as pets. So they did the right thing, brought us the wild one, and got themselves a different type of geese that are not wild. Another story where we say it's important to pick up our trash. We got 2 beautiful swallows that were brought to us at Greenwood by really nice people that found them in the back alley of a restaurant. So we do believe that they were stuck in a sticky substance that we believe was sweet and sour sauce. So we named the birds Sweet and Sour. We gave them lots of bubble baths. They didn't have any substantial injuries, so we just wanted them to stay with us to grow strong, regrow some of their feathers, get their waterproofing back on their beautiful feathers, so they could get released together. So those are all beautiful, fun stories. I'm gonna let Naomi, and do you want me to stop sharing so you share your own screen? Perfect. Play a beautiful video.
Short video to share.
I can see, perfect. That's a release montage. I love those. I love those release montage where these animals go back in the wild. We saw a variety, right? We saw some ducks. One of them was actually a mother with all of her babies that were brought together at Greenwood. We saw a fox at the end that was black. So it was a melanistic fox. So it's still a red fox, but because it had so much pigment, it's like a rare thing in its fur that it was a black fox. It was a beautiful female with bright orange eyes. And she had mange, and she came to Greenwood, and we were able to rehabilitate her. So we're going to do a little how you can help section. So why is it important to protect wildlife? You know, it's Earth Day week. Why are we talking about this? It's because we are all connected, right? The biodiversity is a way to say bio, it's us. It's you know, the hawk, the owl, the weasel, the plant, we're all connected together. And the diversity, having all of us part of that cycle, is important. So we don't want to remove even the spider or the shrew, because we all belong together and we're all like dependent together. So we want to make sure that we are good citizen of our mother earth, right? So how to be a habitat hero, how to help these wild animals have really good habitat and be able to strive, right? And for us to participate in this, of course, you see right away the do not litter, and you hear that so often, and we repeat it because it's so important. Create better habitat, like planting milkweeds, plan for the monarch butterfly. That would be wonderful if you want to participate in that. Putting bird bath out there for your birds that come to your house, and also to observe wildlife from afar, right? To have binoculars and go on nature walks and look at them and try not to touch them, run after them, right? To respect kind of their bubble a little bit. We say also teach others. So we always tell people when we give a presentation about Greenwood, you can become our ambassador. Tell people, don't touch wild animals. Don't, if they need help, call us and we'll tell you what to do. Try to cohabitate peacefully, right? So if you have a skunk digging a hole under your porch, I understand that maybe your parents are not really wanting that skunk to make a house there. You can call us. We'll tell you how to make her maybe go away and find a better place for her to make her little nest, okay? So we say to people, there's so many ways to become a habitat hero. All right, how you can help Greenwood. So that's an email address here. I'm sure that a lot of the links that we're sharing today are going to be in the chat box, but you can contact me, Claudia at greenwoodwildlife.org, or volunteers at greenwoodwildlife.org. Those are all email addresses that you can easily find on our website too. Right now, like I said, on Facebook, we're looking for branches. In the fall, sometimes we're like, please, people, bring us newspaper, and we have some requirements like not glossy, and of course we want it to be clean. Supply drive, right now it's our baby shower seasons. On our website, you can see we need lots of frozen fruits and veggies to give to our animals. Always great ways to help us and to make sure that you're bringing us things that we actually need at the moment. You can always reach out to us. Other ideas of wildcraft. I know that after this presentation, you're going to do great craft with recycled materials if you want to do your own bird feeder, your little cute pom-pom songbirds, or window cling, which is something that you put in your window for birds not to avoid window strikes, right, with birds. So these links will be shared also in the chat if you want to do some cool craft. What do we want you to take home as the main message of this presentation? We have a few. So you found an animal that you believe needs help, right? What should you do? We say, first, go get an adult. It's always good to have an adult around and be like, look, mom, dad, or your guardian, or whoever, your aunt, your uncle, please, there's this animal, I believe it needs help. And then you say, we should call Greenwood. We all have cell phones. I like to think that we all do. But you call Greenwood, and then we will tell you what to do. And the main things that we will tell you when you call us, we will say, please do not feed it. If we want you to bring the animal to Greenwood, we'll tell you to put gloves. We'll tell you how to create a little box. We don't want you to first like grab it with your hands without calling us first, right? You don't want to touch it. And if you have it in your home before you bring it to Greenwood, we're like, it's so hard to resist sometimes. We want to give it water. We want to give it a little carrot, but we say, do not feed. It's the best way to go. And in the end, we still have even grown-ups calling us and be like, but can I just keep that cottontail bunny? Can I just keep it? And we tell them, actually, no. And it depends on the states, but in Colorado, it's not legal to have a wild animal as a pet. They deserve to have their wildlife. That's the life that they were put on this planet to have. And we need to go get a domesticated bunny if you want to have a pet bunny. I think we have a little poll coming. All right, so there's going to be a poll pop-up window coming up soon. I found a wild animal in need, and what should I do? What is the right answer? Keep it as a pet, pick it up and feed it, or call Greenwood for help? I wonder. I'm going to answer mine right here. Going to give it a few seconds. I think that you're going to have the results pop up when they're ready.
We've got about 70% of our group has
Nice.
voted. So
I wonder if people are puzzled, and I hope you appreciate the picture of this bird having a wing wrap. So we do wing wraps on certain fractures to make sure that the bones heal properly, and then we change them, make sure that they're always comfortable. But that's a beautiful wing wrap. I'm wondering who did that one. It's perfectly done.
So I'll just read the options one more time. If I find a wild animal need, what should I do? Keep it as a pet, pick it up and feed it, or call Greenwood for help? All right. Well, I think we've got all of our votes in now. You want to?
I think that people got the message, and of course,
everyone chose call Greenwood for help.
That's great. And to be honest, I don't have the phone number on here, but as soon as you Google Greenwood Wildlife, our phone number is going to pop up, and you can call us. We're open 365 days a year from 9 to 4, and we're here to help. And on our website, there is a section, I found a wild animal in need. So it can happen that you find an animal after 4 p.m. and then we won't answer the call. You can leave us a message, and there are instructions on our website on what to do when we are not answering the phone. All right, questions. And I think that you ladies are going to help me see if there's some Q&A questions that I should answer here.
Yes, and I'm just going to remind people how to ask some questions. So you can put it in the Q&A box and type in your question. Also, we see that there's a few people who are raising their hands, and we can call on those people to ask their question live. So right now, let's call on Sandra. Do you have a question? We can allow you to turn on your microphone.
I just wanted to say that yesterday that I saw a hawk.
Ooh, a hawk. Where did you see a hawk?
I saw outside my window in my room.
Do you think it was hunting? Do you have like a little field behind your house, or?
No, well, we do have like a nest with baby birds in it though.
Yeah, that could be something that they look forward to. Well, if you have, when it comes to these big birds of prey, which by the way, we don't rehabilitate at Greenwood, but there is the Birds of Prey Foundation in Broomfield and the Rocky Mountain Raptor program around Fort Collins that take care of those magnificent birds. They are quite impressive, aren't they, Sandra? Very impressive.
They are.
All right, and now we have a question that was written in from Monique. Are there volunteer or internship opportunities with Greenwood?
Absolutely, very good question. So we are still towards hopefully the end of this pandemic. That was very enjoyable for all of us. I'm being sarcastic here. So we are not recruiting new volunteers at this time. We were going to start again. I'm talking about animal care when the pandemic is over, but our internship program is still open for the fall session. So the summer and spring sessions are quite complete at this time, but we do have an internship program, and we have normally, I'm going to talk about normally if it's not with the pandemic, we have animal care opportunities. We have also the mice team, the most important care and enrichment volunteers that we asked to join us to help with the facility doing dishes and laundry. One important fact, you need to be 18 years old and older to be a volunteer at Greenwood because we work with wild animals that could have diseases that are transmittable to humans. So we just want to make sure that we pick this as an age encourage for people's immune system to be pretty good working with wild animals. But our website under Get Involved, you're going to see internship, you're going to see volunteer, all of our different volunteer opportunities, including even group volunteer opportunities that you can join us at Greenwood for.
Great, thank you. And then Diane Dodge, Diane has a hand raised, so we can turn on your mic. If you want to unmute Diane, you can, or I can also just read your question aloud if you prefer.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
We have a very large mountain lion that's been hanging around our home and our neighborhood, and also a cub. And we have a camera up, so we found that it had eaten a raccoon and eaten a duck. And we're kind of concerned about it because we have very young grandchildren who are here. So wondered what you think we ought to do about our mountain lion.
Well, that's a very good question. I would say, first, if the mother you see is still with the cubs is really good, because the mother teaches the cubs what's food and what's not. And normally they teach them that humans are not food that they want to even try to get to. So sometimes, you know, in the case of what happened, I believe it's last year, that attack on the human, they were cubs that had lost their parents, right, their mom, and they were a little bit desperate for food. So I would say you can always call Greenwood for specific, you know, having a discussion with one of our wildlife rehabilitation rehabilitators. Colorado Parks and Wildlife too. So we are not licensed. The biggest mammal that we get at Greenwood are coyotes, foxes, and bobcats. We still have plenty of people that can answer a very specific question on types of animals that we don't necessarily take at Greenwood, or also refer you to a specific phone number. In the case of mountain lions, we would refer people a little bit more to Colorado Parks and Wildlife on how to cohabitate with these really large and impressive predators. Yes, do you believe that they're also much more active at night, dawn and dusk, right?
No, no.
They're all around all day. I understand that it must be worrisome with your grandchildren. So I would maybe give a call to Greenwood. My guess is that they will ask you to call Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and then we can see how to cohabitate. For example, when people have a problem with a bear, right, that's really around their neighborhood, looking in their trash, we always refer them to Colorado Parks and Wildlife, because they take notes of that, and they will send a ranger probably to come and have a look at the situation and help you out.
Okay.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We already called them though.
Oh, yes. Well, call Greenwood. We're going to see what we can do for you.
We have a follow-up question about volunteering from Christina.
Mhm.
Can you volunteer with a parent? I am 10 years old.
That's a very good question. The answer is sadly, it's no, but that's why we have next, I believe after this slide, we have the resources page where people can go on our website. We have under resource, we have just for kids. So how you can help when you're under 18, how kids can help and support us. So we tell people, I have so many, even Eagle Scout that are 17 years old that still can't quite come to Greenwood. We have them build things for us outside, you know, remotely, not on site. So it's really a matter of the wild animals, and it's really hard also to feed all those tiny little baby birds. So we accept only 18 and older, even with a parent. So I have plenty of parents, Girl Scouts for silver, bronze awards that contact me on how they can help Greenwood, knowing that they can't come to volunteer directly with the animals, right? And we have plenty of projects that we can give them to get involved, and they come to Greenwood to drop the goods that they gathered for us. We take a picture, I give them a certificate, buttons and stickers, and we want to make sure that you still feel involved with Greenwood even if you're under 18. And then one day when you turn 18, boom, you can do a intensive internship and join us, and maybe one day even become a wildlife rehabilitator.
Wonderful. So just to remind people, if you want to ask a question, you can use the Q&A box, or you can raise your hand and we'll call on you and ask you to unmute your mic. I have a question. Is it hard to say goodbye to the animals you've helped?
It's a very good question. So when I recruit all of my volunteers and my interns, we always have a little conversation on one rule that we have, which is the no cuddle time rule. And it's an important rule to have because if people are really looking for an opportunity to be cuddling with the wild animals, they should go maybe to a humane society with pets, and it's completely fine. All those nonprofits, all those people that are helping animals have a great cause. But for us, these wild animals, sometimes we have to be so careful that in the case of the magpies, we even have to feed the babies with a feather mask on so they don't identify us as their parent. So this rule help us also to keep a certain emotional, healthy distance to respect the identity of the animal, right? So we care when our raccoon staff, it's the end of August, early September, and we have to release them all in small groups in different cities. They are saying goodbye. They have taken care of them sometimes for a whole 4 months. They join us early May. And I think that it's a mix of pride. They're really proud of those small animals that are now going back in the wild. They feel proud of themselves too for taking care of them. So maybe they have a little bit of sadness, but they're also really, really happy to be part of something that's greater than themselves and kind of helping nature have these creatures get back into their natural environment. A little bit of both, but we try not to get too attached.
And then a follow-up to that, do the animals ever want to stay with you or have trouble being re-released? And if so, what do you do?
Very good question. So I think sometimes the raccoons, they're pretty smart creatures, right? So they've been around humans for a while, and we open the crates and they go, you know, that beautiful creek and those trees, and some of them don't look back and they run really fast, and some of them are like, I wonder, but normally it's pretty good. You know, what happens sometimes for us, it's mostly birds that we realize, maybe this bird didn't get enough exercise, right? Because we release them and this one is kind of not wanting to fly away or something is a little bit off. So we're going to just take the animal back to Greenwood, reevaluate the situation. Was it the best environment to release it with? Does it need a bigger cage to extend its wings more and fly more and get more exercises? But I would say that it's our job to make sure that these animals are not habituated so much that they actually want to go back and land on your shoulder. So that doesn't really happen. And if it did, we would just return it to Greenwood, see what's going on, wild them up, the animal up a little bit. So when we say wild them up, we put them in an enclosure where they have obviously everything that they need, but we really, really barely go see them for sometimes weeks. We just put the food there and we just go away, and then their wild instinct kind of come back.
Great, thank you. We have a question. Do you remember a bunny? And I think this might have been someone who might have brought in a bunny, and if you want to talk about, I don't know when, what time. It didn't say in
Get
the
so many bunnies. Well, if the bunny
how many
conversation is
bunnies
very
do you
good.
get, and what do you see with bunnies? Maybe talk a little bit about your experience with
Yes,
bunnies.
cut and tail bunnies. Well, it's a good conversation to have because right now, still today, there is the Colorado Wild Rabbit Foundation that is in Lafayette. So it's a wonderful woman called Gabrielle, who takes care of pretty much, I don't want to say all, but most of the baby bunnies, cut and tail rabbits that we found, at least in Boulder County for sure. And Gabrielle, she really deserves it, is retiring. So Greenwood right now, and you should also go on our Facebook, we are building what we affectionately call the Bunny Hotel that we're breaking ground on right now to build the Bunny Hotel for next year. So we're going to take care of these baby bunnies that Gabrielle will not be able to take any longer. So at this time, to be really honest with you, we don't take baby bunnies. We send them to Gabrielle because she has this really quiet environment. So baby bunnies, they're very fragile and sensitive. It needs to be sometimes just one person taking care of them, because when there's too many different people or too much noise, they really, really stress them out and they don't do so well. So we're building a separate facility on our property for those little bunnies. So right now at Greenwood, we pretty much only take care of adult bunnies that are injured or maybe sick. And we send all the bunnies to the Colorado Wild Rabbit Foundation in Lafayette, and we will take over for Gabrielle next year. And then I can give you a number, because I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot of baby bunnies.
All right. Oh. Sorry, my screen just blanked out for a second. It looks like we have another question from Grayson. So we will turn on Grayson. I think you can turn on your mic now.
Have you ever gotten like a groundhog?
Yeah, very good question. So last year we got 2 baby marmots. We sometimes get prairie dogs. Like, I don't know, groundhog. I don't think we get that, but is it the same as a marmot? But they're pretty rare, right? Because even the 2 marmots that we got last year that were babies, they come from a certain altitude, so we don't see them very often. But they were very, very cute, and I think there was a picture of them on my second slide. But we get them rarely, and you know, some of those are really intense because they're rodents, right? They have these teeth, and they always want to get out of their cages. That's the only thing that they're trying to do. And they give our staff so much headache sometimes because they just want to get away. So they chew on the plastic in their grate and their crate. So we do get them occasionally, some different type of rodents. So we get, of course, a lot of baby bunnies, like I said. We send them a lot to Lafayette, a lot of fox squirrels, but we get the occasional different rodents like marmots, prairie dogs. We get deer mice, field rats. We even got I have a blank, so I'm gonna skip it, but we get chipmunks, golden mantles, we get rock squirrels, pine squirrels, so we get all sorts of rodents. And those marmots and those prairie dogs, sometimes they're a lot to deal with. They're screaming and they just want to escape. They're escape artists.
We had a follow-up question about volunteering. If you are 18, are there any other requirements to being a volunteer?
Well, it's all listed on our website. Of course, you need transport, right? There's no bus really coming to Greenwood. We're a little bit remote. So you need to have reliable transportation. We ask people to have minimum immunization, right? Tetanus is very important to be up to date on, which people normally have. We're encouraging people to get their COVID vaccine. If you work with the raccoons, you need to be vaccinated against rabies. The other animals like squirrels, birds, waterfowl, it's not necessary. So I would say that that's mainly it, being able to communicate easily with the staff and being able to lift heavy stuff. But we tell people there's always other interns and volunteers around you, so we're not going to ask you to lift a 50-pound bag of kibble by yourself, but it is physical, right? It's a physical volunteer opportunity, so we're wanting people to be ready to stand up for long hours and things like that. So it's all the requirements are listed under get involved, volunteer, and then you have all the different volunteer opportunities, so you can click under animal care volunteer to see a few more details.
Great. I think we might have another question from Diane. Diane, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself now. All right, well, we'll come back if Diane's got another question. I think our next question was from Sandra. So we'll bring Sandra up and ask Sandra if you'd like to unmute.
So I just wanted to say, one time I holded a baby bunny before.
One time what? Sorry, I didn't hear.
One time I holded a baby bunny.
Oh, you did? You hold it in your hands? And what ended up happening? Did you put it back in the nest for mom to take care of it?
Mhm.
That's good. Well, next time, and you can tell all of your friends, we like to observe them, right? And not to
Mhm.
touch them. But as long as you put it back there, and the bunny mom, she checks on their babies twice a day at dusk and dawn. So people sometimes they really think that mom is gone, right? The babies are there, mom is nowhere. The babies are there, mom is not there. And we tell them, call us. Chances are the babies are just fine. Mom is, eating, checking on them twice a day. And the nest sometimes is covered with a little fur and a little grass. And we tell people to put like little twigs of branches if they want to make sure that mom is coming back, because when they check in again later, chances are those twigs would have been moved. So that's a good way to see if mom is still around and taking care of those baby bunnies.
They were also white baby bunnies with red eyes.
So they were pet bunnies. They were not wild, like under a bush that you found them. It was like maybe at a shelter or a humane society, or
Actually, my uncle, he owns some pet bunnies.
so it was at your uncle's house. Well, it's a very good example of the difference between a cottontail rabbit, which is wild, that you see outside, right? You see them all the time, and a pet bunny. The white bunny with the red eyes is a very good example of a domesticated animal. So it's completely fine to hold the babies, I guess, if your uncle agreed with it. All right.
So we had a typed question from Ara. Have you ever gotten a great horned owl?
Very good question. So I mentioned it earlier, great horned owl, we have them in Colorado. They're beautiful. Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation is licensed for songbirds like robins, corvid like magpies and crows, small to medium-sized mammals. And we're not licensed for birds of prey or raptors, which a great horned owl is in that category. So again, you can call Greenwood. If you find a raptor that needs help, an owl that needs help, we will give you the number depending on where you live, or the Birds of Prey Foundation in Broomfield, or the Rocky Mountain Raptor Program in Fort Collins. They can give you advice on the phone, whether you should bring the owl in or not, and where they're situated. And that's where you would bring the animal if it need help. But aren't they beautiful? I love to take nature walks at Walden Pond in Boulder County. And I saw one just the other day with a friend. They are beautiful.
We have a question, a raised hand from Matthew. Let's see. I think Matthew may have also typed it in. So this is the typed in question. We'll try that one first. Can I help with the bunny hotel? I'm 9.
Nice, wonderful. Sorry, I'm just gonna. So the bunny hotel right now, we're just building it. We're raising funds to help build, buy all the equipment, all the bins, all the chairs and tables and lighting that we need. So right now we don't have any baby bunnies. Maybe next year we're gonna be like, oh, for the baby bunnies, we're gonna need grass and things, or a little bit of special food that they eat. At this time, we are not having any bunnies. We're just really with big machines, putting the ground even and starting to build up. And at this time, we're raising funds. So you can go on our Facebook page if you want to donate with your parents, if you want to help Greenwood in a different way and help the animals that we have there. It's not going to be baby bunnies, or it's not going to be for the bunny hotel, but it's still going to help us out a lot to get some maybe frozen fruits or frozen veggies to help the animals that we have right now. But next year, we'll have plenty of baby bunnies.
All right, we've got a few more raised hands. It looks like Mackenzie. If you want to unmute your mic, you can ask a question or talk. It looks like Mackenzie also, oh, there we go.
I have a tree that's in my yard, and it has owls in it.
That's great. You have them in your backyard, so you can just look at them. They have a nest there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'm a little jealous. I do, next to my building, have plenty of finches nests, and that's beautiful. And they're so smart. They've put them at the right place where they don't get any wind or rain. And I can see the little heads of the babies pop their head out and chirp. But I don't have great owls in my backyard like you. So I think you should count yourself really lucky.
And then we've got Mindy. If you want to unmute, you can ask your question.
So I have baby squirrels in my tree, and I last year I had a nest and with robins, and it was at so the baby squirrels and the robins are both at both at a window, and then but the baby robins, they left, and the nest fell down because of a snowstorm. It broke the branch, but
Mhm.
we just have newborn squirrels.
Oh my God, you're so lucky. Well, at some point, if the babies are gone and the nest falls, it's completely fine. You could try to put it back in the tree and see if another bird at some point would be like, oh, cool, I'll use this nest. But we have, oh, and again, on our Facebook or even on our YouTube, recently my coworker Misty filmed little short videos on what to do when I find a baby bunny, a baby bird, a baby squirrel. So those are really cool to watch because we talk about reuniting. So if you ever have one of those baby squirrels that fall down their nest, you can call us and we will tell you how to attempt to reunite it with its mom. So we even have some sound that you can play that is like the sound of a baby squirrel calling its mom, and you can put it at the bottom of the tree with some hand warmers and then observe from afar and see the mom come down from the tree, grab her baby and put it back in the nest. So this is really the best outcome. So I'm sure you're going to keep a good eye on them, and you're lucky to have so many critters around your house.
And
Oh no, sorry. I thought that we were done with that question. We're actually getting to the very end of our hour today with Claudia, and Claudia had just mentioned YouTube videos. So we will be putting, I think already there's some links in the chat, but we'll add them again of where you can go check out some more videos from Greenwood Wildlife. Claudia, did you have anything else you wanted to share with us today?
Well, exactly like you said. So we said, you know, in the Zoom chat, have a look. There's going to be plenty of links. You can go on our website under resources. You're going to see just for kids. We're keeping adding things on there. We also have a section that is called Educate, and we have a virtual curriculum on there with really fun puppet shows where you get to click on the videos and look at some craft also that we do with the puppets. So we have that for pre-KK and first grade, and we have 2nd to 7th grade coming out soon on this part of our website. So it's under Educate virtual curriculum, so you can learn even more about wild animals. But otherwise, I want to say thank you. Thank you for caring about our local wildlife. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you so much. And it was really a pleasure to be here this morning.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Claudia, for joining us today to teach us about wildlife rehabilitation in Longmont. As I said, there are links right now in the Zoom chat. If you want to learn more about Greenwood, you can watch those YouTube videos we talked about, find out ways to help, activities, and see more of the ways that Greenwood cares for the animals they help rehabilitate and bring back into the wild.